Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. One episode away from 1,000. Today's 999. We will recap yesterday's Monday Night Football game between the Ravens and Raiders. Major League Baseball, we'll go over the results to look ahead to today's game. Same with the Wnba. Major League Soccer, we'll go over tonight's slate. I'll do my NFL power rankings for the week and overreactions, latest news and notes, and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start in Major League Baseball. Monday Night Football. As it was one heck of a game last night between the Ravens and the Raiders came out on top by a score of 33-27 in overtime on a game-winning touchdown pass from Derek Carr for 31 yards to Zay Jones. Carr was sensational, 34 of 56, 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Lamar Jackson, 19 of 30, 235 yards, and a touchdown and 2 lost fumbles, and 12 for 86 on the ground. So, like I said, fun game, thrilling game. You could argue whether the right team won or not. I think that Jackson's turnovers were costly. I feel like if you have the ball in his hands, the Ravens may have won that game. But give credit to the Raiders. They played hard. The fans are behind them. That certainly helps the Raiders. We'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us this year and actually be a good football team. Although they weren't that bad last year and the year before, but they happened to fall apart at the end of the last 2 seasons. So we'll see if it's like that for a third straight season, or else maybe they actually don't collapse in December like they've done the last couple of years. Now we'll move on to Major League Baseball as we will go over the slate from yesterday. It was a short slate. Look ahead to tonight. Yankees over the Twins, 6-5 and 10. This was a makeup game for Hurricane Henri. They had to postpone this game to yesterday, and the Yanks were down 5-0. They came from behind and won, courtesy of a walk-off single by Gary Sanchez. Aaron Judge did the game-tying home run in the 8th inning to make it a 5-5 game. Big-time win for the Yankees. They're 80-64. Minnesota is 63-81. Marlins over the Nationals 3-0. The Marlins are 61-83. Washington is 59-85. San Alcantara to win. Paolo Espino to loss, and Dylan Florida to save. And by the way, Clay Holmes got the win, and the loss was charged to Ralph Garza Jr. in the Twins-Yankees game. Blue Jays over the Rays 8-1. The Blue Jays 81-63. The Rays 89-55. Alek Manoah the win. Ryan Yarbrough the loss. Cardinals over the Mets 7-0. The Cardinals are 74-69. The Mets are 72-73. Adam Wainwright the win. Rich Hill the loss. Astros over the Rangers 15-1. The Astros 59. Texas is 53-90. Christian Javier the win. Spencer Howard the loss. Giants over the Padres 9-1 to clinch a playoff spot. They're 94-50. San Diego 74-69. Boy, did their season fall apart. Getting the win with Zach Little, and the loss, Yu Darvish. Dodgers over the D-backs 5-1. I almost picked this for best bet, but I stayed away. Dodgers 92-53. Arizona 47-97. Phil Bickford the loss. Zach Gallen. Phil Bickford got the win. Zach Gallen the loss. And last but not least, Mariners over the Red Sox 5-4. As I win best bet, this is what I chose instead of the D-backs Dodgers game. Seattle 78-66. Boston 81-65. Diego Castillo the win. Ryan Brazier the loss. And Drew Streckenrider with the save. All right. Today's games, doubleheader game 1, makeup game from June 26, Indians Twins. Tristan McKenzie and Joe Ryan. Tristan McKenzie kind of turned his season around. He had the near no-hitter. He's just been better in the second half than he was in the first half. Twins are minus 124, Indians plus 106, over under 6.5. Overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Indians minus 1.5 is plus 188. Twins plus 1.5 is minus 230. Indians favored on the run line, but Twins favored on the money line. Taking the Indians plus 106 on the money line. 6:30, Reds Pirates. Wade Miley and Dylan Peters. Reds minus 164. Pirates plus 118, over under 8.5. Overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Reds minus 1.5 is plus 108. Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 130. I'm going to go with the Reds run line, minus 1.5 plus 108. Brewers Tigers. Freddie Peralta and Willie Peralta. The battle of the Peraltas. Milwaukee minus 215, Tigers plus 180, over under 9, overs minus 102, unders minus 120. Brewers minus 1.5 is minus 134, Tigers plus 1.5 is plus 112. The Brewers are on a winning streak right now, playing well. I like over 9, minus 102 in this game. Next up, the Cubs and the Phils. From Philadelphia, Adrian Sampson and Kyle Gibson. Phillies minus 205, Cubs plus 172, over under 9.5. Overs minus 112, unders minus 108. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 118, Phillies minus 1.5 is plus 1 or minus 102. I'm going to go over 9.5, minus 112. Don't feel good about it, though. Marlins Nationals. Jesus Luzardo and Eric Feed. Nats minus 134. Marlins plus 114, over under 8.5. Overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 184. Nats minus 1.5 is plus 152. I'm going over 8.5 at minus 106. Yankees Orioles from Camden Yards. Garrett Cole and Alexander Wells. So Garrett Cole coming back from the start where he left against the Blue Jays with the injury. He's minus 350 on the road. Orioles are plus 280 at home, over under 9.5. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Yanks minus 1.5 is minus 205. Orioles plus 1.5 is plus 168. Ooh. This is crazy. Are they really overreacting to their big win, or they forgot that the Orioles just nearly or should have swept the Yankees, quite frankly? I'm gonna go under 9.5, minus 104. And Garrett Cole pitches well. Yankees just do enough. Maybe they win 8-1. Rays Blue Jays. Drew Rasmussen and Jose Barrios. Toronto's minus 142, Rays plus 120, over under 9, minus 110 each way. Rays minus 1.5, or Rays plus 1.5 is minus 160. Blue Jays minus 1.5 is plus 132. Barrios has just been an amazing pickup for Toronto, but I'm going over 9 because of their offense. Cards Mets. Jake Woodford and Marcus Stroman. Mets minus 178, Cards plus 150, over under 8. Overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Cards plus 1.5 is minus 140. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 116. I'm going to take the Cards as a dog again. They're still in that wild card hunt in the National League, so I'm taking the Cards plus 150. They need this one. Also the Mets. They're under 500. 720, Rocks Braves. John Gray, Tukey Toussaint. Braves minus 172, Rocks plus 144, over under 9, overs minus 108, unders minus 112. Rocks plus 1.5 is minus 144, Braves minus 1.5 is plus 120. I'm going to be different and take the under 9, minus 112. Both these pitchers are pretty good, big ballpark as well. 7:40 Fox Sports 1 doubleheader game 2, Indians Twins. Logan Allen, Charlie Barnes. If the total's anything less than 8, even though it's a doubleheader game, I'm taking the over. Astros Rangers at 8. Zach Greinke and Jordan Lyles. Astros minus 230, Rangers plus 190, over under 9, overs minus 104, unders minus 114. Astros minus 1 half is minus 134, Rangers plus 1 half is plus 112. Over 9 minus 106. Angels White Sox. Packy Naughton, Lucas Giolito. I don't see any lines up for this game yet. But I'm probably going to go White Sox run line if it's at plus money. A's Royals. Frankie Montas, Jackson Cower. Oakland minus 166, Royals plus 140, over under 9. Overs minus 106, unders minus 144. Oakland plus minus 1 half is plus 105. Royals minus 1 half is plus 106. Minus 126. A little bit of a tongue twister there. I'm gonna go contrarian under 9 minus 114. Maybe that's an 8-1 game. 9:45 Padres Giants. Jake Arrieta, Anthony DeSclafani. Giants minus 200, Padres plus 168, over under 8.5, overs minus 122, unders even money. Padres plus 1 half is minus 126, Giants minus 1 half is plus 105. I'm going with the Padres straight up, plus 168. I don't think the history is good for teams that perform the day after clinching. They always tend to lose. So that's the pure bet against the Giants. Partying too hard, clinching the playoff spot. So plus 168 for the Giants, or for San Diego. 10 o'clock D-backs Dodgers. Luke Weaver, Tony Gonsolin. Dodgers minus 260, D-backs plus 215, over under 9. Overs minus 102, unders minus 120. D-backs plus 1 half is plus 102. Dodgers minus 1 half is minus 122. I'm going over 9, minus 102. And last but not least, the Mariners are hosting the Red Sox. Nathan Eovaldi, Tyler Anderson. Red Sox minus 144, Mariners plus 122, over under 8. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Red Sox plus 1 half is plus 114. Or minus 1 half is plus 114. Mariners plus 1 half is minus 137. I'm going to go with the Mariners straight up, plus 122, as a home dog against the Red Sox. All right, now we'll move on to WNBA. We will recap yesterday's game and look ahead to today. Aces over the Wings, 85-75, so it's 2-game lead for the double bye. They're 22-8, Dallas 13-18. Kelsey Plum, 30 points and 5 assists. Arika Agambale, 23-8 for Dallas. Looking ahead to tonight, 7 o'clock NBA TV, you have the Fever and the Dream. Probably the worst game of the season. Both these teams are out of the playoff mix. Very meaningless game. I just think Atlanta's a little bit better than Indiana, so I'm going to go with the Dream at home against the Fever. All right, now I'm going to go over the Major League Soccer slate for tonight. 3 games, 7:30. You have Columbus and the Red Bulls. At Columbus. I haven't done MLS betting on this show in some time. Columbus plus 110, Red Bulls plus 230, draw plus 230. The Red Bulls are kind of falling apart of late. Columbus is pretty close to a playoff spot, so I'm going to go with Columbus plus 110 at home against the Red Bulls. NYCFC hosting Dallas. The football club of NYC is minus 290. Dallas is 6-1 on the road. Draws plus 370. I'm going to still lay to minus 290 with NYCFC. And at 7:30 as well, you have Toronto hosting Miami. Toronto's plus 110, Miami's plus 220, draw plus 230. I'm going with Miami on the road plus 220. There are two back of Montreal for a playoff spot. So I'm going to take Miami plus 220 on the road as a dog at Toronto. All right, now I'm going to do my NFL Power Rankings, my first set of them of the season, and I'll do overreactions along the way. After week 1, I love doing overreactions, and I look back to see what's right and what's wrong. All right, 32, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is not special like we thought he was. 3 interceptions in the game, losing to a team that a lot of people thought was tanking. Obviously, Jacksonville's defense did not look good whatsoever. 31, the New York Jets. Is their defense better than we thought, despite the injuries? I mean, granted, Carolina's not that great of an offense. They have one elite player on offense. So maybe that was it. Number 30, the Detroit Lions. Is their offense better than we expected? I know a lot of those points came in garbage time, but the 49ers are supposed to have a good defense, so we'll see about that. Number 29, the Houston Texans. Can they win the AFC South? Here we are a week ago thinking, oh, this team's tanking. They traded their starting cornerback. They're sitting Deshaun Watson due to legal issues, but still. It looked like they were tanking, but Tyrod Taylor's slinging it, and he led them to a win in week 1. They played well. And 3 interceptions as well for the defense. 28, the Atlanta Falcons. They should have picked the quarterback over Kyle Pitts. We'll see about that. 27, the New York Football Giants. It's break for Daniel Jones, not make. 26, the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy will be the first coach fired. I mean, like, we didn't think that already. Well, some people thought that there were other candidates for that. 25, the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold has shown zero improvement since coming over in the trade. 24, the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is back 100%. 23, the Philadelphia Eagles. Can win the NFC East. Only team to win their season opener out of the division, by the way. 22, the Indianapolis Colts. Should have gone somewhere else other than Carson Wentz for quarterback. I'm not saying that Carson Wentz played horrible in that Seahawks game, but I feel like that offense would have a higher ceiling with someone else at quarterback potentially. Number 21, the Tennessee Titans. Arthur Smith is what made that offense look good. 20, the Minnesota Vikings. The COVID situation and the lack of vaccines on the team will be a distraction. Number 19, the Las Vegas Raiders. The pass rush is improved despite giving up a lot of points. 18, the Washington Football Team. They can win games without Ryan Fitzpatrick. Number 17, the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is 100%. 16, the New England Patriots. Their running backs are overrated. Damian Harris, a lot of people thought of him as the year 2 breakout running back. But what does he do? He fumbles the football. And What did Ramondre Stevenson do? Fumble the football. So maybe the running backs we were all touting before the season are overrated. 15 to Miami Dolphins. Offensive line improved. Gave up only 2 sacks in the entire game. 14 the Green Bay Packers. The Aaron Rodgers drama is affecting their play on the field. Number 13, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson won't be as good as he was in 2019. He fumbled twice. There are other moments in this game where you thought he was going to be electric, but really wasn't. Sacked a couple times as well. Number 12, the Denver Broncos. Can they win the AFC West? We'll get into my thoughts about the Chargers and the Chiefs and my overreactions, but Denver looked like a complete football team, or darn close to one, 2 days ago against the Giants. Number 11, the New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston is an MVP candidate. 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This offense is still showing the same issues as it showed at the end of last season, despite the comeback to win that game. 9, the Los Angeles Chargers. Austin Eckler won't be used in the passing game. 8, the Cleveland Browns. Is there Ewing theory potential with this team without Odell Beckham Jr.? I mean, they were much better without him after he got hurt last year. And their offense looked awesome today without him. Sunday. Number 7, the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, MVP favorite. Number 6, the Seattle Seahawks. Is this the year they finally let Russ cook? 5, the Buffalo Bills. A step back for Josh Allen. 4, the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo should be the starter the whole year instead of Trey Lance. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. The defense is not very much improved. Number 2, the Los Angeles Rams. Matt Stafford was the missing piece all along. And number 1, they're number 1 until they lose. And that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But my overreaction for them is that are the veterans on this defense starting to show age to the point where their defense might take a step back. All right, so there are my power rankings and overreactions for week number 1 and power rankings for week number 2. And now I'm going to go over my latest news and notes. Some baseball news coming down is that the league expands the Roberto Clemente honor. All Puerto Rican players plus others will be allowed to wear number 21 to honor Roberto Clemente on September 15th. So that news broke courtesy of Marley Rivera. The San Francisco Giants locker room was a nightclub, but they were celebrating last night. And it's a big reason why I took the Padres on the show today. Umpire Junior Valente hit by an errant throw as the Cardinals is Mundo Sosa lost control of ones and strikes, and he was hit. The umpire was hit by Sosa's throw, and Valentine was able to stay in the game. The Eli and Peyton Manning broadcast last night was sensational, as Peyton dressed as John Gruden, and it was great. This was really cool. Viral gymnastics star Nia Dennis put on a show during her arrival at the Met Gala. Florida State player proposes after loss, as a Seminoles player was seen proposing to his girlfriend while Florida State, after they lost the game, Jacksonville State players were celebrating the last second win. A Florida State player proposed to his girlfriend. That's cool, but at the same time, he did it after a loss, which is something you don't really see, a proposal after a loss. The biggest news of yesterday, USC fires Clay Helton, as Mike Bohn confirms the change in leadership after they lost to Stanford. Dante Williams is now the interim head coach. Of course, now everybody's making their lists of who could replace Clay Helton. I know a lot of people are throwing out Urban Meyer's name already and Jim Harbaugh's name. But Meyer's coaching the Jaguars, and Harbaugh, I think, could be realistic depending on how things go with Michigan this season. James Franklin of Penn State is one. Matt Campbell of Iowa State. You heard Greg Schiano's name, but I don't think he'll leave Rutgers again. That'd be really, really brutal for that program. So, a lot of big names for USC. That is one of the premier jobs in the country. And Bill O'Brien, Alabama offensive coordinator. Luke Fickell, PJ Fleck, Mario Cristobal, Tony Elliott, Chris Peterson, Bob Stoops. So, USC going with a lot of big names on their list. And they should. It's USC. You go big or you go home. Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King out until October due to a fractured ankle. So that's a big loss for A&M. I have to do a couple spread adjustments. That's one of them. I'd take away maybe 4 points, 4.5 points maybe for that injury to Texas A&M's rating. The NBA is eyeing an in-season tournament with a prize of $1 million per player. And obviously this is for future seasons. So that'd be really, really cool to see. Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards are off the table in trade talks for Ben Simmons. The Dodgers activated Clayton Kershaw last night. We talked about that on yesterday's show. A lot of NFL injuries. Ryan Fitzpatrick to miss 6 to 8 weeks due to his dislocated hip. Taylor Heineke will be the starter against the Giants. And Fitzpatrick, no indication yet that it's season ending. Raheem Mostert on the injury reserve for 8 weeks with a chipped cartilage in his knee. That's why he left the game the other day. Jerry Jeudy out a few weeks with a high ankle sprain. That was just an ugly injury the other day. Mekhi Becton out 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury, as he's going to get arthroscopic knee surgery to clean up damaged cartilage. And the Jets are losing LaMarcus Joyner for the season to repair a torn tendon in his arms. That's a big loss for them. And Jeff Okuda out for the year with a ruptured Achilles. That is a big loss for the Detroit Lions in that secondary. Lamar Jackson focused on season, not deal, as Lamar's acting like his own agent and is immersed in his quarterback job and not focusing on a contract extension. One more thing before we do best bet. The other big story in the state of California is the California recall election. As this is where we find out whether Governor Gavin Newsom, whether or not to recall him from office, and if he is removed, to select a candidate to replace him for the remainder of the term, which ends in 2023. And the voters' ability to recall an elected official in California is the result of progressive era reforms enacted in 1911 alongside the introduction of the ballot initiative and women's suffrage. And the 2003 California gubernatorial recall election was the first time a recall attempt led to an election in California and resulted in the successful recall of Governor Gary Davis, who was replaced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's going to be interesting. And this is an option, whether it's in person or vote by mail. So, according to 538, 57.3% chance or percentage of keeping, and then remove 41.5%. It's a chart showing the polling averages since July 14th for whether to keep Newsom or remove him. And there's 46 candidates are in the running. And it just takes a simple plurality to win, meaning a candidate could win with only minority support. And Californians can vote on the second question, even if they vote against recalling Newsom on the first question. And there's a lot of candidates that could be in play for this if the recall is successful or not. So, the replacement candidates, 46, as I mentioned earlier. Larry Edler, who is a Republican, as he has brought his views to LA Talk Radio for a long time. Kevin Paffreth, who is a Democrat, as he describes himself, 51% Democrat, 49% Republican. Kevin Faulconer, who was the mayor of San Diego from 2014 to 2020, he was a Republican. John Cox, who ran and lost decisively to Newsom in 2018. Caitlyn Jenner, who is obviously a reality TV star, former Olympian, as she's been on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And that would be very interesting if, like, say somehow Caitlyn Jenner could be in play for this. Like, that would be very, very interesting to see if she can come through or not. But ultimately, I think that it will not be successful, as Newsom will remain governor. California is a very blue state, and I think that Newsom will win the recall, and we won't have to talk about potential replacements for Gavin Newsom much longer. And so they have an official certified list of candidates. Holly Bade, a mother and business owner. John Drake, who's a college student. Patrick Kilpatrick, who's an actor. Jacqueline McGowan, a policy advisor. We talked about Parfath already. He's a financial educator. Armando Perez Serrato, who has no ballot designation, which is weird. Brandon Ross, he's a physician and attorney. Joel Vendreska, who is a retired airport analyst. Daniel Watts, a free speech lawyer. Those are the Democrats on the ballot. Republicans, David Alexander Bramante, who's a realtor and multifamily developer. We talked about John Cox. We talked about Larry Edler. We talked about Kevin Faulconer. Rhonda Furin, a nonprofit president. Ted Gaines, who's a Board of Equalization member. Sam Gallucci, a pastor, CEO, and consultant. David Hilberg, who's an aircraft mechanic and actor. We talked about Caitlyn Jenner already. I think she's the most interesting person on this list. Kevin Kiley, a California legislator. Chauncey Slim Killins, who is a retired correctional officer. Jenny Ray LaRue, a business owner and mother. Steve Chavez Lodge, a retired homicide detective. David Lozano, an executive officer and attorney. Diego Martinez, who's a businessman. Daniel Marucci, who is a business owner. Robert C. Newman II, a farmer and psychologist. Doug Ost, a farmer and small businessman. Sarah Stevens, who's a pastor. Denver Stoner, a deputy sheriff. Joe Simon, a community volunteer. Anthony Tremino, an entrepreneur and CEO. Nicholas Wildstar, a musician and entrepreneur and father. Leo Zaki, a businessman and farmer. And then there's Green, Heather Collins, who's a business owner and hairstylist. Dan Kapelovitz, who is a criminal defense attorney. a libertarian, Jeff Hewitt, who is a Riverside County supervisor, and no party preference. Angeline, who's an entertainer. James Hannon, a retired educator. Kevin Call, a real estate developer. Michael Loebs, a university lecturer. Dennis Lucy, a teacher. Jeremiah Marciniak, no ballot designation. David Moore, a public school teacher. Adam Papagon, an entertainer. Dennis Richard, a retail store worker. And Major Singh, a software engineer. So that's 46 on the ballot. I think Newsom will be safe because, like I said, I think California is a very blue state. So they'll back Newsom. And I think the most interesting person on this list is Caitlyn Jenner. And I think that she might have the best shot. And the other person that I think has a decent shot as well as Kevin Faulconer, who was the former mayor of San Diego, who we talked about earlier. All right, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I had a game in mind. I don't know if I will go there or not. I'm going to lay 1 unit on This was harder than I thought. I'm going to actually wait and see if the over in the second Indians-Twins game comes out. And that's where I might go for best bet, but that would be risky. So instead, I'm going to lay a unit on Reds 1.5 run line against the Pirates. I just think that the Reds need these games to hang on to their playoff spot, keep their playoff hopes alive. So give me Reds minus 1.5 plus 108, laying a unit on it. All right, so there you have it for today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from Major League Baseball, WNBA, Major League Soccer. Look ahead to everything going on tomorrow. They'll do news and notes. And tomorrow's my 1,000th show, so I'm going to do a segment regarding that and like some superlatives that I want to give out and memories along the way with the show. And obviously my best bet as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.